Good afternoon and welcome to Java with Jim. I'm Jim Reese, Director of Business Development at Offit Kurman, and I'm joined here today with Leonardo McClarty, President and CEO of the Howard County Chamber of Commerce. Leonardo, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good, Jim, and thank you for having me. And it's always good to sit here and just talk chamber and talk business with you.
And always good to see you. You're one of my favorites. So, Leonardo, let's jump into this. Tell us about the Howard County Chamber and what you do to serve the business community around you.
Well, thank you. And so the Howard County Chamber, we're a business organization in Howard County that serves predominantly Howard County, but certainly we have businesses that are outside of the county and certainly that have interest that goes beyond perhaps where they're domiciled or what have you. So we do have businesses that are located in Montgomery County or in Anne Arundel, Baltimore County, but they have business interests here in the county. And so ultimately, we like to say that we are about three things: people, policy, prosperity. And so people really gets into that personal and professional development, helping people connect with other professionals that maybe they can refer business to one another, that they can do business together, et cetera. But then we also really focus heavily on the policy side as well. And that's where we really take our role as business advocate really serious, working with our elected officials, both locally in Howard County, also statewide, making sure we having good relationships with our congressional delegation, and really trying to be that voice, particularly for the small business person who is busy, trying to make the proverbial cash register ring. And so maybe they can't follow all of the policy changes that may be taking place. And so we try to really focus on that advocacy role. Also, the prosperity piece is really how we work closely with our various partners in economic development, starting with the Economic Development Authority, Howard County Tourism, this other organizations really focus on making Howard County a place that people would want to come here and do business, that they want to keep their business here, that they want to grow and expand. And so that's a little bit about the chamber. And we've been fortunate to be at this now. We celebrated 50 years a couple of years ago. So we've got, I think, a storied history and track record.
Wow, that's awesome. So I appreciate you simplifying it to the three Ps, which are quite different from the three Ps that we've been talking about for the last many months.
Yes.
Leonardo, as it relates to the Howard County Chamber, what are you most proud of?
I think as I reflect over particularly the last year, I think there are about maybe two or three things that come to mind. The first thing is internally, really been proud of just my team and how we've really been able to work together and overcome some of the hurdles of the transition to remote working, the transition to figuring out how to deliver our programs differently. Also, even at times when we may have been short-staffed, overcoming those hurdles and just everybody chipping in, doing what needed to be done. And I think that second piece really ties into just our service to the business community. I think we have really taken it upon us to really try to be a resource in many respects, whether you are a member or not, especially during the height of the pandemic, recognizing that our ability to come together was much bigger than whether or not you were on our membership rolls or not. And I think the third piece is our creativity. You and I had a chance to talk a little bit earlier before we got started here about the coffee tailgates. And so that has been something that, as an example, where if you can't network inside, well, let's network outside. And in some respects, people have felt more comfortable being in fresh air, being able to spread out on their own, even down to the cyber conference that's going to take place this year. And so that's going to be at Meriwether Post Pavilion. And so, again, when we couldn't figure out if we could have the event at a hotel because the hotels weren't at a place where they could tell us what their capacity was, when they were going to open, we said, okay, well, let's put our thinking hats on. And we've got this phenomenal venue in the county that's outside, that's covered. And so let's take the conference there. So I think, just really trying to look at how can we continue to be creative, recognizing that our members, or in our case, our clients, expect us to deliver a product and a service. And much like in your world, if you don't deliver that product or service, then they go someplace else. And certainly we don't want them to do so.
Love the creativity, and a very nice and well-deserved shout out to the staff at the Howard County Chamber, especially for getting you guys through the last 15 or 16 months. Could not have been easy. Speaking of which, what will you and the chamber be focused on in the next 6 months?
So I think really interestingly enough, the same way that we had to prepare and in some respects do it probably quicker than we wanted to go virtual. Ironically, we're having to prepare to go back to in person. That in some cases, it's not quite as easy as just turning on the switch and you just go to having things, in person. So certainly over the next 6 months, we'll start planning a lot of our signature programs, things that maybe last year we had to either change or in some respects cancel. So we've got to actually, when you think about the next 6 months for us, it's a busy fall. We've got our cyber conference, as I just touched on it, coming up in September. We've also got our YPN, or Young Professional Summit, in September. We've got the Chamber's annual signature event in October. And then we've got those traditional economic forecasts, holiday gatherings. And for us at this point, we're just moving forward, as if this was I guess you could say, regular year, so to speak, now that for the most part, as a state, we're doing well from a vaccination standpoint, and particularly Howard County. And also using, I think, last year as an opportunity in some cases to change some things up. So for those that have been to the signature event in years past, this will be a different looking signature event. And recognizing that, hey, you know what? Last year was a pause. So let's really pivot and do something, out of the box that I think we all are recognizing we can't do the same things that we've done in the past just because there are different expectations. But let's push the envelope and be creative.
Change is good, right?
Change is good.
Yeah. Leonardo, I'm hoping a lot of people are going to be watching this interview. So what do most people watching this not know about Leonardo McClarty?
I was trying to think about that. And so I think the one thing that I know people probably wouldn't know is that I had a hip hop radio show in college. And so my roommate and I, had a show. We had what was called a specialty show on the campus radio station because the overall station itself was an alternative one, but they had specialty shows like, one of the professors had a jazz show. We had a hip hop show. And so that was one of the things that my roommate and I had for about maybe 3 years or so.
Wow. Well, lots of listeners.
I don't know, but I'll say we did, but certainly I know we at least had guys on the football team that tuned in.
Okay, there you go. Well, that's important. Well, I can assure you that nobody knows that, because I thought I knew you pretty well, but I did not know that fact. So you pulled one out of a hat. Leonardo, it's been great chatting with you today. Really appreciate you taking your time out of your busy schedule to join us, and great to hear more about the Howard County Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much. Good to see you, and I hope to see you at the next tailgate at the end of this month.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you, Jim, and for all that you do to support the chamber as well as just business in the region. I think certainly you are, and your firm are certainly an asset to the business community. So hats off to, although my hat's already off, hats off to Coffee Kurman.
This hat's not coming off, but thank you. I appreciate it. Good to see you. Take care. All right.